Yo, yo, yo. It is Thursday night at 7:30 Central Standard Time. So you know what it is. Reverse Polarity. I'm your boy High Five Vega. It's your guy Dean, baby.
Hey.
Smash Force Productions.
Yeah. That was a tough name to come out with, man.
Yeah. We'll see. I didn't want to mess it up because if you say it too fast and you don't get the enunciation in.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where it's like you have to decide. Do you want a really easy name that's going to resonate with people, or do you want something that's way too many letters and just sucks?
I think a lot of people like either I think people like two or three. So like High Five Vega, Smash Force Productions. That could be kind of two, depending on how you say it.
Yeah.
But like both
But
Derek's channels, because his is Old School Stereo or Wilson Audio Lab. So both his are three as well.
yeah. I just like I wanted something simple, but then I
Yeah.
figured, you know what? I've never been simple. I always do shit the hard way. So, I always go if everybody's going right, I'm going to go left, you know.
Yeah.
And it's just I guess that's just how I always, it's like I always use a Mac long before Mac was cool. And like the struggles of using it was like, screw you guys, I'm gonna use this,
Yeah.
you know, and it's like I'm gonna use this app instead of the one that everybody else uses. Even though the one that everyone else uses is probably better, I don't care. I'm gonna find the hardest way to do this. I've just never been able to go with the flow.
Right.
And so coming up with that name, it was like I wanted something simple. I so desperately just wanted something simple. And it was just like it just wasn't coming.
Do you remember what the options were? Were there what was on
There
the
was never
table?
any good options. It
Oh,
was just one night, Haley and I were sitting there and I'm like, dude, we gotta iron this out. She's like, okay, you know, and it was just it was just a combination of different things. Um that like, okay, this word works, that word works, and then we'll throw productions on the end of it because that's what we do. And it was like, it could be worse. And I was like, SMP as an acronym isn't too bad,
yeah.
or SM Productions. There was all kinds of kind of things that it could do, but you know, I never, the thing was is like the 5 star. We knew that we didn't want to fall into that again. Like
Right.
it had to be something that was ours, and so that was about as far left as we could go. Because because it would have been really easy to just call it 5 Star Productions or car stereo. It's just something simple like that.
Right.
But we also thought that if we picked a name like that, it's really not telling you what it is.
Right.
So if we ever have to go off and do something else,
Well,
you
yeah, I
know,
think it's a better business name overall because you're not
yeah,
just completely tied down to car audio.
right. And the way we've been diversifying the amount of work that we do, not necessarily for the channel side of things, but just for both the viewers and the channel, and then just companies in general. um it makes more sense to not be as car audio centric,
Right.
because it could be anything. So we can go into an environment and say, yeah, we're Smash Force Productions, and then we're like, oh wow, what is that? And it's like, we're whatever you need us to be. you know
Yeah.
we'll create your content, we'll film your content, we'll talk to your people, we'll create classes, we'll teach classes, we'll do whatever behind the scenes, in front of the scenes. You need us to create a sales model, we'll create a sales model. If you whatever you need us to do, we have experience in doing it. So, it's always essentially I had to talk to this guy tonight that picked up his car, the F-150 that we finished on Instagram. He's
Right.
a super fan. Like, this guy was so excited to have us do his car and to have me in his car doing the demo. He's like, dude, I've listened to so many of these demos, at the end of the video of you talking about this. And now I get to now you're doing it in my car. And he's like, he was like super happy about it. Paul gets no royalties. Um, He had his chance. He bowed out. And, you know, so we got to talking and we're talking about just like stuff that we're doing. And, you know, it was just, it's always interesting to say like the stuff we do out loud. You know, it's like, oh yeah, that's kind of weird, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, it's you don't think about it. Uh, but you know what's weird? When someone watches your videos, sometimes you don't think about what you're saying, but they really picked up on something that half the time I don't even remember saying it. It's like, whoa,
Now,
okay,
see, I'm the opposite.
yeah,
Everything that makes it through has to be there. Like if it doesn't make sense or it's not what I intended, it gets cut. Like,
yeah,
you know, there was a scene in the movie that, or in the movie, the video that got dropped today. There's a whole big sequence of stuff that got edited out, or we filmed it out of order, which happens all the time. But there was just no way to put it back into where it needed to go last night, and it was like, and it just went on the chopping, you know, just gone.
oh
You know,
yeah,
and it was like good 2.5 minutes of content, so that's like a lot of information. But it just wouldn't. It would have screwed up the flow of the video. So it was like, I can't. This is way too good to put this back in there. And a lot of the times it's something that we've talked about before, so it's not like, you know, it's not like it's totally necessary, but it's like, uh
the ones that usually get me are it's 3 years old, and it's like, so in this section, your point was this, but what about this? And it's like, I don't remember having that point. I have to go back and watch.
yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. Now I remember what I was trying to say
Yeah, oh yeah.
or the point I was trying to get across. But yeah.
Yeah. I had a guy call me the other day to ask me about what we did in this Dodge van caravan that we did. And I said, listen, man, we shot that video like a year and a half ago. I said, I, for the life of me, have no idea what we did in that thing. Like, I would have to go back and watch the video and try to figure it out.
Yeah.
You know, I don't remember. Um, yeah, it was pretty. It happens. I mean, it's like we don't do a lot of them, and that's why we film those videos, because it's like it's an odd car.
Right.
You know, it's like probably not ever going to see one of these again. Probably will never have anyone bring us one of these, but it's a cool story, so let's film it.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know?
and that's what gets me is like all my videos are almost one offs. So I'm
Yeah,
not repeating them often. So it's like, oh well, shit. I don't know. I'll watch and jog my own memory.
yeah. Well, it's fun. It's funny. It says celebrity status. So Monday night we had Jeff and Matthew on
Yeah.
the show, which was great because they just came on. Really, you know, Matthew was in town and was like, "Hey, man, I'm in town. Can I just come on and, you know, let's just shoot the shit and let's just answer. Let's do a normal show. I got nothing I'm peddling. Let's just come on." I was like, "Hell yeah, man!" And he's like, "I'll see if I can bring Jeff." It's like, sure. I mean, so it was an odd show in that there was really nothing on the agenda, and we could just answer questions like we'd normally do. And so we got to have those guys answer the questions, which was fun. And then afterwards, we all went out to eat. You know, and so Fernando had his kid with him. And so after dinner, he's like, I got to go. So the three of us were standing outside and we're just shooting the shit. And I see this guy over in the corner and I'm like, okay. And he's doing this weird stuff. And I was like, man, is this guy going to come up and ask us for change or something or a cigarette? Or, I mean, what is he doing? And so he finally comes over and he's like, hey, Dean, I don't interrupt. I just want to come over and say, I really like your stuff. And, it's awesome to meet you. And I'm sitting there, I'm going, hey, this is Jeff Smith, by the way. You know Jeff, he's on the show. But he didn't say that, but I was just like, there's Jeff Smith. And but it was weird because I'm like, I'm glad you guys saw that because this is it's so don't get me wrong. If anybody ever sees me, I tell them, if anybody ever sees me, they want to come say hi, please come say hi. It's a
Right.
total rush. It's awesome. It solidifies what we do, but it still always catches you a little off guard. Because you're just like, hi.
It does catch you off guard, and I always like I appreciate it if someone sees me out and says, "Hey, high five, Vega," or whatever. if I got time, we'll chat for a minute.
Oh yeah,
Or at least at the very least, say hi, what's up,
yeah. We
and
had a guy come in today. He's a coach, and he's the team that he coaches was in town. So he's like, dude, I got time. I'm driving over to Clearwater. I'm gonna go see these guys. And it was funny because he did something that no one is asked to do. He's like, Fernando, can I hear your car? And Fernando's like, I mean, yeah. I mean, it's not like super tuned up right now because we're kind of between stuff. But yeah, you're more than welcome to hear it because he still has the 430, Moscone DSP, K2s, but it's like a rushed tune just to get it out the door. And but this guy also had a 430, and he just wanted to hear somebody else's 430. So they went out in the parking lot, disappeared for about 15 minutes. So Dean, you have Dean, you have 200 subs. Do you think it helps the shop? Do people shop there just to meet you? 100%. 100%. Yes. I'd say probably 80% of the business that comes into the shop is install wise is people that are fans of the show. I mean, and they come from all over, man. It's like the guy today. That's not unusual. Our week started out with a guy that drove down from South Carolina to get a normal system installed. Wasn't anything spectacular. You guys saw it on Instagram. It was just a normal radio, 5-channel amp, some speakers. But he knew what he was going to get, and we delivered as we always do. Although I had a high five Vega moment the other day because somebody commented. Haley goes, dude, there's some. Haley likes to read the comments of the videos.
yeah,
And she goes, dude, there's some shit going on. And I was like, okay, so guess I should go look. So some guy had said, you guys need to stop using that CCA wire to make speaker wire and just use regular speaker wire. And I'm sure the customers would appreciate it, or some stupid shit like that. And I'm like, the fuck?
are they
And
talking
of course,
about
one of
your
our guys,
single stranded or not single stranded wire, but single wires that you guys twist?
yeah,
Oh God,
yeah. And I'm like, seriously, dude? Like, did you even watch? Have you watched any of our shit? Like, I
well,
mean, what a dumb thing to say. And of course, somebody called them out and said, dude, they use 100% copper. I think it's Stinger, which it is. We either use Stinger or Metra.
right.
Um, but it was just dumb because it was like, God, you know what? Stick in your lane, bitch. I don't tell you what temperature to cook those fries at. I mean, I don't know when those need to come out.
I see people; they'll get confused sometimes when they see tinned copper. Like, oh,
Yeah.
that's aluminum, but and then they'll see CCA that is copper colored, and then they'll think the same thing. It's like, dude, you'll know you have CCA just by picking it up.
Dude, you can't even strip that shit, man. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. You
Let
know,
try to solder it. Have fun with that.
oh yeah, you can't. Um, But no, I mean, seriously, I was just like, "You're an idiot." I mean, I was trying to be nice, and I was like, "We use 100% copper," and then I was like, "You know what? I'm just gonna delete this guy because it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so dumb."
Sometimes it feels better.
Yeah, because I mean, the reason why we use twisted wire like that is because I don't like, I don't like, after years and years and years of doing this, I don't like square and circle tandem wire run together that doesn't twist all that well. And we're having to move it and bend it, and we got 8 runs of this shit, and it's got way too much plastic on it. Like, all that speaker wire has way too much plastic on it, takes
Yeah.
up so much room, and there's not a lot of room in these cars now. So it's way easier for us to, hell, sometimes we'll even strip the shielding off a speed wire because I can tape it and add the insulator back on it, or put Tech Flex over it, and it's freaking 1/8 of an inch. you know it's a
Right.
lot thinner. So it's one of those things where it's just like, oh god.
Well, and you've like honed what you're doing. You've honed it over the whole time you've been in the industry, so you know you know how you want to work, and you
Yeah,
know the type of product you need to do that.
yeah, I mean, it's definitely not. Yes, it's like, I don't,
Yeah.
You know, it's like, hey
Well, I
man,
know a lot of people like the square and the circle only because it's easier to tell which one they use for positive without having to look and all that, but
oh yeah,
doing
but you
massive
do
amount
have to
of
look.
installs and if you for one install, sure, I mean, fine.
Yeah, but yeah, and it's like, so does this black, blue, brown, and white wire? Oh, I know that's a negative.
Right.
I know that is a positive, and I don't need these to know that. So,
That's
and if I'm
perfect.
over there soldering this, these are up like this. So it's like
And
I
what
know what
happens
I'm doing, dude.
with the regular wire, you get sometimes it'll be blue on both sides, and then you gotta
Yeah, yeah.
find the white writing
Oh yeah.
every foot, and it's like, "Ah, that's a disaster." But the way
Oh,
you
it
guys
is.
do it, you're color coded, so it's just is what it is.
Yeah. I was just like, so the other morning I went in and I was late because I was tired. As you can tell, I don't sound the best. Um, so I get in, I'm about 10 minutes late, and Fernando's got the truck in, and he's screwing, it's a Chevy, and he's screwing with the front door speaker. And in Chevys, older Chevys pickups, man, those speakers just they'll just die. We even have a video on that. And he's like, dude, I got the new speaker and there's still no sound coming. And I'm like, oh, great. So I said, all right, well, let's pull this door and make sure that the radio works. Um, but there's sound getting to the tweeter, so let's try to figure out, And so I end up just pulling the tweeter out and continuity test between them. There's no continuity at all between the wiring. I'm like, oh god damn it, And so I was like, all right, I'll deal with this. Just go around to the other side. And so, there again, perfectly fine car, wires dead in the door. It's like, fuck, okay. So, got to pull the whole door boot, got to fish through it, got to, conveniently enough, GM puts a nice little plug for the whole door. Like you can unplug the door up on the side of the dash, which is
Yeah.
cool. So if you know that, you don't have to go to behind the radio. You can just go to that connection there, which is way easier. And then we soldered in a new wire, and I actually even went so far as to cut the factory speaker tip off because Fernando had put clips on all of them, the factory clips. So I wanted to make sure that you know if anybody looks at it, it looks as factory as could be. I even
Yeah.
used shitty 3M tape to match the factory shitty 3M tape.
There you go.
You know,
You
so
didn't wanna put the Tessa on there?
no, because there's no Tesla in the car, so you know that's that's always the I love having that conversation. It's like when we teach our class on installation this past year, it was like talking about tape was just like 20 minutes. We talk about tape, trying to get people to understand how to use tape. Dean would love my old G body with solid core wiring harness. Oh yeah. No. Um, using yellow wire for tweeters and orange for mid.
Well,
Oh, yeah. Orange for mid and white and gray for left and right. So negative should be yellow and orange. Yes, correct. But so we use yellow and orange for both tweeters. So it depends on like what we have stock of. So any one of what I like to call the sun colors, red, yellow, orange, can all be tweeter wires. And then earth colors, which are brown and blue, could be mid range. And then black is always going to be mid base and main signal in. So, but that way we always know that. And we can, if a car comes in, we can just go, that's a tweeter wire.
yeah.
So there's always a method to the craziness, right?
One, you have to think different than anybody that's doing it themselves because
Yes.
you just need to standardize what you're doing because you may be working on it again for whatever reason, and you just know, like, this is how we do it. So this is if we did it, this is this. And us, it's like, well, you might do what, one install every 5 years as a DIY
Yeah.
person. If you have multiple cars, maybe a couple installs every 5 years, something like that.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it was funny because today, so the one guy's never introduced noise from RC as a power cable. On the F-150, just out of habit, we always go driver's side power, passenger side speaker, because we usually have a ton of a ton of shit, so we're running a power and a ground. So it's not that we're doing it to because we don't run them running next to one another. We're doing it because we just don't have the space, because
Right.
sometimes it's a zero gauge. So we've always just robot. It's like this goes that way. And so today we did it, and I did it. And Fernando goes, dude, where's the wires? And I go, they're going down the passenger side. He goes, why? And I was like, because I was already there, And but I love those comments, and I'm sure he appreciates it too. When somebody says, "Oh, bro, you run the RCA's next to the power wire, you're gonna get noise," and it's like, do you not understand when you pull that floor sill off, all those wires that are in there are power wires?
Yeah.
Like every single one of them has some form of power passing through it, whether it's AC, DC, temporarily passing power. But at some point, they're all going to be doing something that involves power passing through them because that's why they're there. So if you think that the power wire that you're running for your amplifier is the only thing that you have to worry about, you're in a fantasy world. You know, amplifier manufacturers, that's why we always recommend buy a good amplifier or a great amplifier because those guys know that they have to put, you know, things in their amplifier to alleviate or to cancel out any noise that might be created because of the car itself.
Right.
These things are noisy.
Well, that was probably more true back in the 90s and 80s, and
Yeah.
that's where it started from.
Yeah. And that
And
was because the product sucked.
right, yeah.
That's why I don't want to use a 225 HCC in a modern car. Because I'm pretty sure you could just walk around the car with the amplifier and go, you know, no
Not
Taco
tonight,
Bell
Bobby.
tonight.
Never again, man, never again.
Dude, you gotta not get the gorditas.
No way, no way.
Dude,
That was a rough 2 days, my man. That was a
dude,
rough 2
chicken
days.
chicken tacos, baby. Lettuce, chicken, cheese. Done.
That's what the gordita has, except the wrap, it's the bread. I don't know, it's something
Yeah,
happened.
sure. Yeah. And gordita sauce, a little bit of refried
Oh,
beans,
yeah, they
sour
probably did have,
cream.
like, some kinda special sauce or something like
Yeah, yeah.
that.
Yeah, 72-volt golf cart. Yeah, golf carts. Oh, those were the best. Yeah, that was for sure. Dean, what are your thoughts on using a breaker and a fuse under the hood? So we've talked about this before, Mike, and I will gladly repeat it as many times as I have to. I'm a fuse guy. And in the words of the Italian job, I had a bad experience. So years ago, like when Dean had hair and had hopes and life was bright and sunny, um, we had somebody come in with like an 80 Chevy, box Chevy, G
Right.
body, whatever the hell they call. I don't know what the hell you call those things, but everybody wants one. Jeff on the show the other day said how bad he wants one. And I was like, a Cutlass? Yeah, okay, whatever. Anyway, so we had this kid had one of those, and unbeknownst to his dad, he smoked,
Yeah.
okay, because he was a teenager and he was a prick. So he smoked. So, at the time, the place I worked at, we used these little circuit breakers underneath the hood because um, Orion would give you the power wire in the box, and there'd be a fuse at the amplifier, and so you just put a circuit breaker underneath the hood, and everything would be hunky dory. Hundreds and hundreds of these did we use over the years, except for this one time. So the kid went to flick his cigarette out the window, and it landed in the back seat and caught the back seat on fire. So the fire marshals came, or the fire department came and put it out. And the fire marshal, who of course knows diddly shit about how how DC works, says, "Oh, it must be that red power wire that's right there that is not burnt, must have caused this." And we're like, "That's like impossible. There's a circuit breaker
Mhm.
underneath the hood." But then he proceeded to tell us, because there again, he's an electrical engineer, not a fire marshal, that keep in mind, this is the 80s, or this was the early 90s. So they're probably smarter today. If anyone out there is a fire marshal, I'm sure you're way smarter now than they were back then. You know, um, he's like, nope, it's not a fuse. So if it was a fuse, you'd be good. But it's not a fuse, it's a
Yeah.
breaker. Breakers aren't You know, we see house fires. That's AC, dickhead. We see house fires all the time caused by bad breakers. It's not the same thing.
Yeah.
It's not. So, anyways, because of that, since that day, I've never put another breaker in a car. I just use fuse because there is no question that the fuse will blow. And that was challenged later on when remember when the Ford Explorers used to have the cruise control was on the back of the master cylinder in the car, and it was a little plastic clip, a little plastic clip would break, and then hot brake fluid would spray all over the engine, which is highly flammable, and the car would catch on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool thing. So we had a customer that had one of those cars, and because we had put a stereo in it, there again, they tried to blame it on us, and I'm like, dude, did you guys not watch the news? Like, this is everywhere because I'm out on the scene, and I'm like, literally everyone, like everybody knows this is. Oh no, man, no, this is you guys. So we were able to dig down into it and find my fuse holder and
Yeah.
go, there's my fuse holder right there, and it's closer to the battery than this thing is. So that would have blown. This set it on fire, and the fire marshal goes, or the crime scene investigator goes, yeah, you're right. Yeah, this isn't your guys' fault. This is that. You're going after the wrong guys. So, fuse holder for the win. The only
Yeah.
time where I think a circuit breaker is like a definite is on a boat, on a system that if it is a fused system and it blows, you cannot get home. That should be a breaker because you should be able to trip the breaker back to get home.
Right.
You know, so that to me is the only time where a breaker is 100% like you should use a breaker. You know, because there again, that's not, it's a different form of protection that it's doing than in a car. So
Yeah. I'd always have a fuse over a breaker just because I don't want to mess with it. I have had them be defective. Fuses are rarely defective.
oh no,
Right.
fuses are a lot of the times defective.
Yeah.
They blow way too early or way too late, but
Well,
they'll
yeah, but
blow.
they'll work.
They'll blow, yeah. Because a lot the problem, like the problem talking with the engineer friends of mine, the problem that they have is that everyone is buying these Chinese fuses. No shit, because that's where they come from. But there's no standard to them. So, you know, you could get one fuse that says it's a 35 amp fuse, but and it is, but the timing is off. So like they're when you're designing a product, that's why a lot of these manufacturers have switched to internal protection and not fuses because they're safer using their fail safe than trying to use a fuse as a fail safe.
Right.
So that's why some manufacturers don't have fuses on their amplifiers anymore because they don't trust the fuses. So,
Most of the good ones do. But
yeah,
the fuse is basically there to try to stop your car from burning down if something happens with your electrical system.
yeah.
Let's see here. Got one from Franco.
Wait, what is it? What is he? Hold on. When adding a second battery in parallel, do you have to ground the second battery even if you run a negative cable front to back? Well, no, if you're running a cable from front to back, like a ground, like a double, like a tandem ground, no, no, because at that case you're just treating it like a boat,
Yeah.
so or a fiberglass car. So no, you don't. Um, I'll tell you what sucks about watching Dean's content is have kind of become a car audio snob.
Uh,
Always be humble, man. Always be humble. You know, there's nothing more exciting than running into somebody that's like, oh man, I just watched your video and I learned so much. And I'm arguing with my friends the other night about it, and they were trying to say this and you know, and I'm like, no, man, you're wrong, you're wrong. And I'm like, hey man, sometimes listen, you know, Noah only took two of each animal. Sometimes not everyone is gonna make it.
yeah.
You know, it's like, and to be honest with you, not everyone deserves to go.
Dude, I've had people like use my videos to try to reiterate their point. And be like, hey, I don't agree with your point. Like
Yeah.
you took a little snippet out and twisted it the way you wanted it to sound and made it seem like this is your point. Like, no, no, bro.
Oh no. Okay, so the other that one, I use circuit breakers on my old car, it sits for long periods of time, and only use it for extra accessories for no parasitic loss. 100%. And there again, there is a right and wrong place to use a circuit breaker. That is a perfect example of why you should use a circuit breaker as a master power. Like, I would do the same thing. We've done the same thing for people where it's like, hey man, my car's going to sit for, I'm only driving it once a month. It's like, we need to put a breaker in here to just click, shut your car off. But that's the main piece, and you're really only using it as an on-off switch, not as protection. Because there's also, and it's funny, there's also that old school, like the old power panels used to have the thing like chink. They have little tiny ones for some of those classic cars. And like, I've put in tons of those for people like, I don't want no breaker, man. Those ain't good for shit. Those things break and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, put this in. And you're like, is there a rat trap in this car somewhere that I need to put cheese on too? I mean, what the fuck? Yeah.
I use a boat 300 amp boat breaker.
Yeah.
On my test bench to separate my power supply from my battery bank.
Yeah.
So I still have fuses in line with that.
Yeah.
When I'm running amps, but it's perfect for that because there's no drain on the batteries or anything when I cut them off.
Well, on our dyno rig, every single piece has on the back of the dyno rig, it's just a rack of circuit breakers.
Yeah.
But we don't use them as circuit breakers. I just use them as on-off switch to disconnect each power source from that. So it's like, when we turn this thing on, it's like click, 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 switch, 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 switch. But after having it catch on fire, it's the Dr. Frankenstein switch, 100%. Yeah.
Funny.
Dean, how did you feed signal the key amplifier in the F-150 today? So that we were talking about that to get the new F-150 dash off. It's very similar to the old one. There's just a front bezel piece that comes off, and then the top piece comes off, and then conveniently located underneath it is the radio brain. So it's like 8 screws, the radio brain is out, but they're all on top, and it's super simple to do. PAC makes a beautiful T-harness, and it comes with everything you need. So it has your speaker wires, and it has tons of connections in the box. So let's say you just want to add a subwoofer. There's a Y harness that's red and blue. So you just plug that in, and you have red and blue wire go off to your amp. In our case, we were doing everything off a front channel. So you have your whites and grays. We took the whites and grays apart, and it comes out of the radio, goes into the LGD load resistor, and then the amplifier comes into that. So, but I mean, the amplifier comes into that. It's like it actually goes out to the amplifier. So there's your signal. So we ran 6 wires to the front. The rears, we just took their harnesses because it's plugged together, and then it comes with the male and female end. So we just took both of those, soldered in a capacitor for bass blocking, and then just plugged it into theirs. But their new radio harnesses for tying into are freaking awesome. But everything is powered off of the front 2 speakers. So back at the amplifier on the key, you can select inputs 1 and 2, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
And then it just comes back and it wires into the 500, and it goes into so it's just one wire or two pairs. So simple stuff. My personal install used manual disconnect fuse, circuit breaker, relays, solenoids, LOL, was for a hydraulic audio build. Dude, hydraulics, man. Hydraulic guys used to make their they would have like a big piece of copper, and then 2 like, old school like home fuse things.
Yeah.
And they'd tie a rag around it, and it would be in the trunk. So like a lot of times you saw those guys with the trunk open.
Yeah.
Doing it. And that's so that somebody could run up there and yank the rag out and kill the car, because they would catch on fire all the time.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So, my buddy that taught me all my fabrication techniques, he was big into hydraulics. Like he made golf carts have hydraulics. He made cars have hydraulics. He made RC cars have hydraulics. He actually came out with a thing called Street Charger. That was he got it from the guys at Harrison Laboratories, the guys that used to make F mods, and it was a step up charger. So you could take 12 volts in and it would put out 36, 48, 24 volts. So you could charge your hydraulic batteries while you're driving down the road. So instead of plugging them into the wall at night.
I feel like we should say with the relays and not relays, but circuit breakers. Now, if you're because I've seen this a bunch of times. If you're using that circuit breaker because you keep blowing fuses, you didn't fix the problem. There's a problem in your system somewhere. It could be a million things. You know, there's a problem. Don't use the circuit breaker in that.
So I think the new circuit breaker is the check engine light with the OBD2 scanner. It's like, if I can get that light to go out, whatever the problem was, is fixed.
Yeah, exactly.
Reset.
Exactly. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Welding cable disconnects. That's exactly what it was, man. Yeah, dude. And I've seen them have to pull that shit, man. It's like, whoa, you guys are nuts.
We had a little bit of hydraulics down here, but not much.
Yeah, these guys were, dude. And when he put it on the golf cart, that was too much. And this big fucking golf cart was slammed to the ground, painted purple bowling ball. I mean, these guys were crazy. Like, and then when he figured out he could do it with he would do it with electrical solenoids, and he would do it with air. You know, they went nuts, man. I'm just over here going, okay. Dean, what do you think about amps for EVs? Many of these cars are 400 volts to 800 volts. Terra Amps is the only company I know of that has high voltage amps that can handle 400 volts DC. Cough drop.
I think actually Larry summed it up for you here. Let me
Okay. Pop it up. There's no way I'd use Terra Amps for 400 volts. I mean, you know, hey, they make great power inverters, right?
Yeah.
No, you know, the thing with like the hybrids and stuff like that. I'm not going to pretend like I'm the hybrid guy so you know, everything I talk about, it's like I've learned from guys that work on hybrids, and the reality is, you know, they're getting harder and harder to do things with. Like the latest chipset that Tesla is using is making things super difficult. And really, the problem is not the voltage that you're talking about, because somewhere in the car, you have to remember there's a 12-volt tap. And this is the thing that a lot of people forget. Why we don't have 48-volt cars, or why we don't have 24-volt cars. And it's actually simpler than you could imagine. It's because the accessories division for the cars, meaning the light bulbs, the seat motors, the windshield wiper motors, the fuel pumps, all these are 12-volt systems. Okay. So until all of those guys start making parts for these upper voltage cars, these cars are going to remain 12 volts. Now, a lot of them are, because, like, you know, Tesla and that guy that owns that is crazy enough to say, well, we'll just make our own. You know, and it's like, oh, slow down, killer. Well, all right, we'll finally get around to it if you're good, because they know he'll do it.
Right.
But the problem is that 12-volt tap is highly monitored. Meaning there's a reader on it going, what's going on? And we'll shut the car down or turn off the charging system or any number of stupid shit. So yeah, it's all going to figure itself out. Like, we know it will, because you have to remember is that there is lots of money on the other side of it. The accessories department is I mean, dude, we just went to SEMA. You know, where millions of people, it felt like, probably hundreds of thousands of people, all came in to watch and look at accessories for cars, whether it be audio, lights, camping, you name it. Any accessory you could possibly think of for a car was there. And there was plenty of Teslas. So it's not like these things aren't going to happen. It's just a matter of at what speed are they going to happen. Because if you look at, you know, they were talking about like the EV adoption rate in the United States, and like how many EVs there are on the road.
Yeah.
It's a fraction, like it's a small fraction of what there is in gas powered. But the thing of it is, and this is where a lot of the companies, and I agree with most people when they're thinking like, well, it's going to happen. It's probably going to happen a lot faster than these guys are anticipating. And that's the problem, is that a lot of these manufacturers are slow on the uptick. So there are a couple 24-volt amplifiers out there right now. I know Audison makes one, and there's a couple other companies, the oddballs, that make them. Some of the amplifiers can handle 15, 16 volts, which is good because a lot of the older Teslas are putting out 15, 16 volts. But I don't know what we're gonna get from this. I talk to a lot of manufacturers, and I yell at them. I mean, you have to understand, some of these are real heated conversations where I'm sitting there going, "Listen, motherfucker, there's 4 Teslas in your parking lot. Walk the fuck out there and take the bitch apart. The fuck
Yeah.
is wrong with you? And there's a Tesla dealership right down the fucking street. Go get one. Figure this shit out, asshole. Because what's going to happen is we're going to have us, and we're going to burn some fucking cars down. And guess whose equipment's going to be in it? Yours. And so whose fault is it going to be? Not ours. It's going to be yours, bitch." And they just look at you like, "Wow, ooh, dial it down, eat a Snickers bar." And you're like, "No." So, part of my duty is to lobby for you guys on stuff that we know we're going to need. And it's just a matter of them getting to the point of like, "Oh shit, we should probably do this." So GM is scaling their EV segment back due to the lack of sales. Listen, I'm not a political, but you probably know this better than I do. Like, what does it take to charge one of these things?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it
I mean,
it's it takes less than the equal cost of gas, but the infrastructure is not there.
right. I mean, if I had
So
solar panels on my roof, maybe, right?
yeah, and you'd have to have quite a bit,
Yeah,
to charge for what you need for daily use. But the thing is, until those are on the road, 1 for 1 or 50%, or they have to be a large market before it's going to start. People start like Kicker, Rockford Fosgate. Before those
right,
companies start making a regular product for them, they're going to
right,
have to be a lot more.
right. But it is coming and it will happen. And there will be solutions, and some of the like Audison had a Tesla at SEMA. Focal just introduced their new Tesla speakers. Focal already makes an interface for the Moscone amplifiers, the smaller Moscones, to go a plug and play system. Okay, a plug in system for Teslas. So yeah, it's just going to take time. But I the it's funny because did you follow Tony D'Amore? Tony
Yeah,
D. Did
yeah,
you see where he was talking about his rant that he did about talking about how what makes a sports car fanatic or some shit like that, where I used to, it has to have carburetor and exhaust and all, and all this crap. And what if you could buy an electric car that blew, like a Plaid? I think he bought a Plaid, and it's super fast.
right,
And he's right. But one of the guys, this guy Bing, he commented back, and he had like a really good response to it that was very well thought out. But the thing that I took away the most was he referred to the Tesla as a jelly bean. He goes, "Let's be honest, they're not sports cars. They look like jelly beans. One looks like a squished jelly bean, the other one looks a flattened jelly bean. Well, they look
right,
like jelly beans, you know?" And and I agree with him, because like there'll be a Tesla in the parking lot when we're walking out in front of it, like, "That car looks dope." My car looks like shit, dude. Like, there is nothing there. Like, I've admittedly said I'm not a car guy 100%, but I also love the beauty of cars. Like, I had the Lamborghini on my wall when I was a kid. I had Porsche posters. Car to me is a work of art. A Tesla is not a work of art. It's an ugly fucking car. you know, you see that new Corvette. Love or hate Corvettes, I don't care. It's a fucking striking car. You
right,
know, and like we were talking today, the Viper, dude. I've always loved the Viper, man. I think it's just a fucking sharp car. I don't want to own one, but I think it's a nice looking car. You know,
yeah.
make a fucking electric car look like that, bitch. Then
What
we'll
I
talk.
Most people, like, it's a big thing between car enthusiasts and because making it the argument is being fast, is that the only thing there is to a car?
Correct. No,
And
it isn't.
to a car enthusiast, no, it's about the sound, the feeling, shifting gears yourself. A real car enthusiast wants to shift the gears.
Yeah.
They're not
I
buying
agree.
you at the work. They got made fun of for using paddle shifters. and you're still
Yeah.
shifting gears yourself. So, you know,
Yeah,
they want to feel
Formula One's over there doing this the whole
yeah,
time. You
right.
know? Like,
Exactly.
I'm not doing this crap between
And
my legs.
they're paying, you know, like $3 million for a Ferrari because it has a gated shifter.
Right.
So that's the difference between because people are taking stock Teslas to car shows and be
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I got a show car." No, you don't. You got a production car.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
like taking people would take the Subaru BRZs stock to a show.
Yeah.
It's like, you bought a stock car, dude. You
Yeah.
didn't do anything to it.
Yeah. It's not
And it's
fancy.
like if you bought a stock Ferrari, okay. You bought a
Right.
stock Lamborghini, okay. You bought an M3 or an M5, okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you're buying 20 or $30,000 cars and saying that, oh yeah, this is a show car.
Right. And that was always the problem I had going to Cars and Coffee. My buddy's like, take your Camaro. It's you're fuck. It looks
Yeah.
badass, because it's got wheels and tires and stickers and all this other bullshit. And I'm like, yeah. And people looking at, oh, that's a really nice Camaro. And I'd be like, okay, the only thing I did was put wheels on. you know,
Yeah.
yeah, it came with the ugly fucking stickers and the mud flaps. So
Well, and
yeah,
that's
I
the
get
thing,
it. It
like,
looks
I
like,
would like, if Teslas are cheap enough, I would buy one. I don't mind the looks of them, but the reason I would buy them, one, yeah, they go fast and that's cool, but
I could care
I'm just a
less.
cheapskate, like, I wouldn't drive it ever on road trips.
Right.
Like, I could put
No.
a solar panel and charge it once a week or,
Oh
a little
yeah.
bit every night, and
Yeah. Yeah.
but that's the reason for me. I would wanna and I like the tech. I like all the cool high-tech stuff they have in
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. It's just a nerd car.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so someone says I own a Mustang, and so I got to be a car guy. Um,
Wait, or no
okay,
mistake.
so the reason I bought a Mustang, okay, I'm not a car guy, but I'm also neurotic in a sense that I can't just. I want to drive a piece of shit. I really do, but I can't bring myself to do it. Like I just want a Toyota Corolla that I can park anywhere and people door ding the fuck out of it and not care. Like that's what I want. But I can't do it. I've tried, I can't do it. I have to have a nice car or what
Yeah,
I think is a nice car. And the car has 10,000 miles on it. It's 2 years old. But I picked the Mustang because there was two cars. One, I was like, I want a convertible. And so it's either going to be a Camaro convertible or a Mustang convertible. I had a Camaro before it. I really didn't like the new convertible Camaros. Like I didn't like the audio setup in there. And I know
yeah,
I still haven't put a stereo in my car, but if I do, it has a three-way set and
yeah,
it's full iData compatible and I can put a radio in it. And so upgrade wise, the Mustang is the better move than the Camaro. So even though I haven't done anything to it, I'm probably going to have it for a long, long time because it's paid for. It's got no miles, and the top goes up and down. But that's why I bought it, and it looks nice. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there again. I bought it. I put new wheels and tires on it the first day I had it, and I've put little stupid ground effect stuff on it that I like. But there again, you got to remember, I like I said, I'm not a car guy, but I like the art of cars. You know, I love going to Cars and Coffee and looking at cars and taking pictures of cars, and I can appreciate the beauty of a car. And I know for most people that makes me a car guy, but I feel like a car guy wants to be in the car, driving the car and going fast and feeling the turns. And I don't want any of that. Like, I don't need that to feel fulfilled about a car. And yeah, the Ford GT50 is a badass car. The one thing I will say about it is those fucking doors suck because it has these swing open doors. So when it's open, it looks like it has T-tops
yeah.
and it's not. But when
Oh,
you work on it and you stand up, you hit your fucking head on the door like
yeah,
all night long. And by the time you're done, you're like, "Fuck this car!
yeah.
I don't
I
care how
I
sick you look."
I considered a Mustang just because I like the way that they look
Yeah,
when I get
I
a new
didn't.
car. I like the way that they look, and I think they're cool. I like the turbo four-cylinder too. I think
Yeah.
that's cool.
So the only thing I hate about my car, this is funny. The only thing I hate about my car, and it's just a matter of buying the piece for it, is I hate the front grille that has the Mustang in it,
Yeah,
because the two don't match, and it bothers me. And so I want to take them both out and put new ones in without a horse on it. Like in the back, I have the panel there's no Mustang logo on it at all. I
yeah.
want to do that to the front. It's just a matter of sitting down in front of the computer for 4 days and figuring out exactly which one I want. This is where someone that actually sells this shit that I could walk up and talk to would be nice, but
Yeah.
we don't have that anymore.
No, we live in the internet now.
Yeah, it sucks.
I wanted to get the illuminated star for Cassie's car. Um, and it's like 350 or something. So it's not out. It's expensive, but it's not out
Yeah,
of pocket expensive.
right.
And so I go start. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna order it, and then I'm clicking all the boxes. And it's like, well, do you have this? She's got all the damn cameras in there. The driver assistance, you can't do it on that.
Right.
It's like, well, shit. There goes that idea.
Um, so the 911 convertible for Dean. Oh, let me tell you what. If Dean was not cheap, a 911 convertible with a big fucking whale tail on it and all that bullshit, fuck yeah, I'd totally have that. But
Oh yeah.
Dean's cheap because Dean is married. Dean has a kid in college. Um, so and Dean is kind of practical, and Dean likes other bullshit. So
Well, and like me being a car guy, I'm the kind of car guy is I don't need to go fast or anything like that, but have to put hands on my car. Like I have to work on it myself. I want to change the parts. I want to do the upgrades myself.
yeah,
It's just a different style of car guy, I guess.
yeah, yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, um, no, and it's not a rabbit hole. It's okay. I mean, the whole it's what it is. But there again, when I buy a car, I'm always still, even though I haven't put a stereo in it, I'm always still thinking about how do I put a stereo. Like a 911, the car I could afford, we have a kit for that. So I could buy one of those like right now, put the kit in it, and be fucking rocking and rolling. Um, so, but it was funny because they asked this question on the show. What's everybody's dream car? Except for Dean, he doesn't matter because like I don't have one. I don't,
Yeah.
I don't have the car that like if I won the lottery tomorrow, I'm buying this bitch. No, I don't have that car because most of those cars I don't want to own. I just like the joke is, would you buy a Lamborghini? 100% I'd buy a Lamborghini. I would love to own a Lamborghini for about 30 days. And then I don't want that Lamborghini anymore. I'll do everything I needed to do with it, have all the fun, take all the pictures, drive by all the assholes doing this, but that's it. And then it's like, okay,
Yeah.
you know, I
I'll buy the SUV that kind of looks like a little Hummer. That's the Lamborghini I'd get
yeah,
if
that's the
if
one
I had
Haley wants now. Yeah,
uh, but if I had my dream, let me think. I would probably get like a Land Rover Defender 90, the original ones, the ones that go for like 100K now.
yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah, that one, yeah,
Yeah, the old school has
yeah,
basically nothing in it, but
yeah, yeah. They look like big British Jeeps.
right, yeah.
Yeah, those are different. Yeah, pre OBD2 for cars for the win. No.
Yeah.
Mary Lou sent me this picture today of this kid working on a car, and she goes, "Oh, this must have been young Dean doing YouTube videos." I was like, "No, definitely not, because I hate old cars." And she's like, "That's not what I meant." I go, "I know what you meant, but still, I hate working on no fucking old cars, man." It's like,
Yeah.
no,
There's a limit to like you like from 80 to 90 something,
yeah,
those cars suck.
yeah,
Once you get the OBD, like the 2001, like the Trooper, I have
yeah,
like heated mirrors, power mirrors, AC, all that stuff, push button 4-wheel drive. It's like I like being at that point, or I want to be way before the technology wasn't just stupid and hard to work on.
yeah,
Like either I need to be before that or just after that.
yeah. No, I agree. Um, my thing with old cars is like, especially when people like try to refurbish them, it's like, you either get the guy that goes too far and gets like, avant-garde Jeremy Carlson down in Miami to do it and spends $500,000 on a car, and they literally just blast it back to steel and start from scratch with a whole new everything. To me, that's the way to do it, because otherwise you're just shining a turd,
Right.
you know. And it's like there's, oh god, I just hate, you get this car and the guy's like, this is my project car. And you're like, no, you're doing it all wrong, bro. Yeah, just put new brakes on it, but you didn't change any of the brake lines. So you got 40-year-old brake lines. Wow.
Yeah.
Cobwebs and shit in it. And you're going, I just like driving it. It's like, I don't like the way it smells.
That's why. Yeah. I want like an Eleanor from Gone in 60 Seconds, but the resto mod version they do. So where it has heating, air conditioning,
Oh yeah, exactly.
digital gauges. I think at one point Digital Designs was doing the systems for those. But anyways, it's like like a new car in that shell.
Yeah,
That's
because I worked on the shitty replica one, and it's just shitty, for sure. But
no, I'm not talking about a new Land Rover. I'm talking about the 90, like the old one, the Defender 90.
yeah, the ugly, like one you see in like
straight up
movies and shit.
square, and
Yeah. Coyote swap. No, man, I don't need any of that crap. Nah. It's just lost on me. Like, I'd much rather have the money in the bank.
yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, every now and then I'll be like, dude, I'd love to have that. And I'll be like, why?
What's like, and everybody has their thing. Like everyone will spend every dude will spend a ridiculous amount of money on something. It's just
Oh
different
yeah.
for every guy. Like if
Yeah.
you've seen the perfect lens, you might be thinking, damn,
Oh,
I should take a loan out for that.
I mean, I do. I have that.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck. They're right here.
Yeah.
It's locked. But oh yeah, no shit. I've done that. I mean, I've put 10 grand into lenses and into a lens, and it didn't even bat an eye. Like,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, it took me like a year and a half to save for it. But I mean, that was the thing. It's like, I want this, and I'm gonna do whatever the fuck it takes. I'm gonna beg, borrow, steal to have this. Most people look and go, are you out of your fucking mind? Yes. Yeah. This is my crack. So, this is what I want. I mean, I open our drawer at work for producing our shows, and it's like there's so much camera shit in there, and it's just like, holy fuck, why do we need all this? Now we got 2 systems of fucking cameras to do video. It's
I
like,
was
God
making
damn it.
fun of a buddy at work for spending $1,500 on a motorcycle seat. And he's
Yeah.
like, how much money do you have in car audio? I was like, well, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I don't judge.
Yeah.
I don't judge. Hey man, like these grilling guys, my buddy's now a grilling guy. So he's building this whole backyard grill area in his house where he's spending so much money on fucking building the area to grill meat. And I'm like, the money you spent to grill the meat, I could have eaten for 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And someone else could have cooked it. So, but I'm not gonna, in my world, no, man. It's like, hey, man, that's fucking awesome, bro. How much? That's so cool. You go, girl. So, we're guys. We're guys, right? I mean, everything behind me is stupid beyond reason.
Right.
I mean, there's fucking probably $300 worth of Legos right there. Give me a break. How dumb is that? And if anybody wonders why the end tables are in here, it's because it's Christmas.
It's you know how it is, man.
And then the one thing that Christmas really, I have a stupid amount of these. Okay, like I have a stupid amount of these, and I don't know why, and I don't know how I got them. I mean, I know I bought them, but fuck. I'm not like, it's not like I'm gonna be wearing them and shit,
Dude, I mean, you can't see everything in here, but it's a bunch of nonsense.
Oh, I know.
I could live with every single piece not in here.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of like this stuff, but
Yeah.
I also kind of like some of it to be gone. No, they're not for sale. I would throw a few bucks and a GoFundMe for Dean to update shelving and lighting.
He wants to see them better. He wants to see them a little bit better.
Actually, it's funny. Haley and I were talking about this yesterday because I was like, every year we decorate for Christmas. Like if you follow us on the Morning Life of Dean and Haley, this past weekend Haley decorated her room, so we were in there. We had the Christmas lights. We've been decorating the living room. We go way fucking overboard for
Oh, dude, I
Christmas.
missed it. So you guys had the Christmas lights?
And Haley's room are up, yeah.
Damn. I'm
Um,
gonna have to go back and watch. I missed it.
but we go way overboard. So some of the stuff from the living room comes into here, like the end table. So I had to make room for those. But I also had all my helmets out there that are supposed to be in here. And I'm like, I'm just moving shit around in here. I'm going, fuck, man, it was irritating the shit out of me because it's like I have so much crap that I just want to put in a tote and put on a shelf or just get rid of altogether. Because like I have this massive book collection you guys can't see because most of the Star Wars shit is sitting in front of the books, and it's like there's probably 500 books in here that I've read, and it's like I'm never gonna read them again. You know, I've read them. I'm done. Why do I still have
got
them?
the Kindle, man. Should have got the Kindle.
No, I haven't done a blow through since the 90s. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's definitely haven't done a blow through since the 90s.
So no show next week except for the Monday or the Friday or the Thanksgiving stream 5-star, right?
Well, we'll have one Monday. So we'll do Monday, Thanksgiving Day, and then probably news on Friday. Well, I'm not sure. We'll see how that goes. But Saturday, this Saturday, we don't have a show because I have to go to a wedding.
Right. I remembered that. So
Yeah.
Monday, Thursday morning.
Monday, Thursday morning. We might pass on the news just because there won't be any news. You know,
Yeah.
we'll cover all the news tomorrow, and then that'll probably be it for that. And then we'll do a Saturday show because we're there. So
Might
it's
as
not
well.
like we get time. We get Thursday off, man, like everybody else. So we got to work Friday and Saturday. So
Cool.
so maybe we'll probably pass on that just because there won't be any news. I mean, unless there is news, in which case we will. But lots of fun.
Yeah. Next week I'm doing Black Friday, another Whatnot auction. I'm actually gonna bring the first one was a tester, so I brought a lot of smalls out, but I'm gonna bring some bigger items into the fold on this one. See how it goes.
I should let you have all my stuff at Black Friday. So you're like, here, take a cut.
There you go.
I'd have to go through it all though.
That's the hard part.
Well, so the other hard part too is trying to figure out like what's ours and what's not ours. Because a lot of the stuff that we have isn't actually ours.
Yeah.
Like we have a ton of JVC Kenwood stuff. It's not ours, but we're fucking sure as hell, storing the shit for these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
You
Extra
know?
storage fees, man. Storage fees.
Yeah. Well, that's it. That's the show, man. Awesome.
Come watch us talk about 8 Mile.
Yeah. Head over to the next channel and check us out there. Thanks for
We'll see
watching,
you
guys.
in 2 weeks.